Can losing actually be good for you? Yeah, if it allows you to see things more accurately. For me, it really helped me understand, okay, I've lost sight here. I've lost sight of all of this and what all this actually means, and it's definitely misaligned me with certain things.
When you aim really high, you're gonna eat humble pie. And you just need that though. And if you could just realize that that's a good thing.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, although we were laughing our butts off. What was it? 1,146 are your expectations setting you up for failure. Today, happy Sunday, for episode number 1,147, can losing actually be good for you? So, I'm on the gym grind. I've gone 5 days in a row, 4:20 a.m., 4:15 a.m. wake up. I'm at the gym by 4:45, crushing it. But last weekend, Taryn and I woke up. I think she went and did something. I worked, and I said, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do some boxing. I haven't been to the gym to box in a hot minute because I've been super busy. So I go to the boxing room of my gym, and there's very few people that use it. It's usually just me in there. I've only seen one other person twice. So I'm doing my thing. This guy walks in, and he's doing his thing. And he ended up coming up to me, and he said, hey, where do you train? Do you train around here? Because he saw me hitting the bag, and I guess I look like I know what I'm doing, which is good. And I said, no, I'm mostly self-taught. I used to train. I used to do jiu-jitsu. I used to do Muay Thai, wrestling, that type of thing. And he said, oh, okay, cool. I'm self-taught too. And we started to have this conversation. And I don't know if it's normal, if this is common, but he said, well, I'm getting ready to head out, man. Have a good one. And I said, hey, if you ever want to spar, like you ever just want to throw a couple punches at each other, just let me know. I'll be here. Just let me know. We do body shots. We don't have to hit. I don't have a mouth guard or anything. We don't have to hit each other in the face. And he's like, yeah, let's lace him up right now. And I was like, oh no. Okay. Yeah, no, we can do it. Yeah. I'm a little tired, and I don't have the right shorts on, but yeah, whatever.
Something about my bank account.
Yeah. So he goes and grabs his gloves, and I was like, yeah, just body shots, light. And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. And it's funny. Just body shots, but not below the bust. Okay. So you only hit me like in my upper shoulders.
He's taller than I am. I think he's probably 4 or 5 inches taller than I am. And we're like, all right, cool. You touch gloves. That's customary of just a respect thing. We're going to take it easy. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're just getting some work in. We're moving around. And I had this very humbling moment of, oh, yep. It's been a minute since I've done this. I forgot how hard this was. And when you're doing something like that, at least in my experience, 1 minute feels like 20 minutes. It feels like there's no way we just started this. There's no way we've only been doing this for 15 seconds. I'm already out of breath. Usually this is easy for me. What's going on? And then you get to the point where it's like, I cannot hit this person. I can't even get close. And then he accidentally hit me in the face one time, which whatever, it's not a big deal. But it was a very humbling experience where I kind of forgot what that was like. I forgot what it was like to do something like that. Hitting the bag, I look pretty good. It looks like I know what I'm doing. The bag doesn't hit back and it doesn't move. It's pretty easy, all things considered. And in comparison, I've lost sight a little bit of what that's like. Now, here's the interesting thing. That night, there were fights on. So as you know, I love combat sports. Ultimate Fighting Championship was on. I watched the fights. I watched those fights completely different. Instead of saying, how are you tired at the end of round one? It was like, wow, you guys have really good cardio. You have really good cardio. Yeah. And it's not like that's the first time. I watch fights every weekend. I lost sight. I got a little over. I got a little ego. I got a little arrogant. I forgot. Now, that's happened to me before. So back in the day, probably 2 years ago, we interviewed, his name is Julian Wynn. Yeah. And after that interview, or it might have been before it, I don't know, I ran into somebody at the gym that I used to go to, and he saw me hitting the bag. And I was like, oh, cool. And he came up to me. By the way,
law of attraction.
Law of attraction, 100%.
Law of 100%. Attraction, yeah. Kevin's hitting the bag, very clearly knows what he's doing. Someone else who values that.
I don't know if I know what I'm doing.
Okay. Someone else who values that says, hey, and they talk about it, mutual passion. So I just want that to be clear.
No, that's good.
Go ahead.
That's really good. So I'm hitting the bag at this old gym. This guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey, I'm a teacher at this Muay Thai gym. You should come." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "You should come by and you can spar. I'll give you like a free training session. You can spar with some of the fighters." I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. When? When do I do this? He's like, "Tonight." And I was like, "Oh, tonight. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I can do it.
I had plans. Dinner with me. Can't cancel that again.
I'm an entrepreneur, so it's not really that big of a deal. I kind of make my own schedule, so I'll just buzz on by." So, and this is interesting.
Back then, you didn't have a schedule.
I really didn't.
Wake whenever I want.
Whenever, do whatever. I want.
I have ice cream with myself at 8. So
ice cream. So when you're getting a lesson at a gym, for some reason they give you gloves. I think it's like the upsell. You come in, we give you gloves, we give you a free lesson. Cool, you're off to the races. Yeah. They teach you how to wrap your hands, because when you're either sparring or you're hitting a bag, you want to wrap your hands and you want to wrap your wrists so you don't hurt your wrists or your knuckles. And they said, "Hey, do you need help?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I know how to wrap my stuff. I'm good." Again, I know what I'm doing, quote, 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 I go through the training and they're like, switch kick, Hadouken, switch kick, 1-2 hook, 1-2 cross, boom, 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 awesome. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. We get to the end of the class and the guy comes up to me. He's like, "All right, man, you want to spar?" And I was like, yeah. Who am I sparring? He's like, that one here. And he's a professional. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And it wasn't like a bad thing. So the kid comes up to me. He's like, "All right, you good to go?" And I said, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And I couldn't touch him at all. I couldn't do anything. He treated me like a small boy. I could not get my hand on him. He literally could have killed me. And it was very humbling. It was such a humbling experience that makes you, number one, appreciate the difference between you and a professional, right? Like, I remember I'd be watching baseball with my grandmother and she'd be like, "How did he miss that?" It's like, it was a fastball. It was 99 miles an hour. That's how he missed it. That's how he missed it. But I used to play baseball, right? I used to play baseball.
You knew. Yeah.
If you watch football, a field goal that's 20 yards is something that's considered easy. I couldn't kick a field goal 20 yards.
Yeah.
No way. So that's kind of the point of this episode is, can losing actually be good for you? Yeah, if it allows you to see things more accurately. For me, it really helped me understand, okay, I've lost sight here. I've lost sight of all of this and what all this actually means, and it's definitely misaligned me with certain things. And again, I don't think I'm the best fighter in the world or anything like that, but it's a nice practice to get humbled. It's a nice practice to get humbled daily. Because if you can take that loss and it helps you reset and recalibrate your expectations back to the last episode, the way you view things, your perspective, I think it's a very, very powerful thing. And a lot of us, especially myself in the past, I avoided failing and losing at all costs. Because if I lose, I'm bad. If I lose, I'm not good. If I lose, I can't win. Now the understanding is, well, there's so many lessons in those losses. So many lessons. This episode is one. The way I watch mixed martial arts is completely different. The way I train is going to be completely different. Everything's a little bit different. And it's because of that quote-unquote loss.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I never used to realize this or understand this, but I actually think one of the most important character traits of all success in any endeavor is humility. And I think that what I want to say and what I now have come to understand is that if you don't have large goals, it's very difficult to stay humble. Yeah. And I realize this as well, that a lot of the people that appear very humble are actually inwardly arrogant. In other words, I have this one friend who definitely thinks he's stronger than he really is, definitely thinks he could probably fight you, Kev, and win, like that kind of stuff. Even though he appears very humble on the outside, internally he thinks he's smarter than everyone, he thinks he's stronger than everyone, blah, blah, blah. But that's also because he doesn't train with bodybuilders. He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't... I'll never forget this, Kevin, and not to out you again. Kevin is a very humble person in general. I think he tends to undershoot on his own capabilities. But I remember one time we were in the gym, and Kevin is much, much better than me when it comes to strength training. Okay, he's always been stronger than me. Yeah,
I know what's coming here.
Yeah, I know. And So we're in the gym, and that's his arena, and it's our arena, both of us at the time, but more him than me, and he tends to lead because he's stronger. And he said something along the lines of like, we were talking, and I said something about I want to hit a 6-minute mile. I've been running a lot lately or whatever. You were like, dude, I can do a 6-minute mile. I was like, no, you cannot. No chance. 6-minute mile doesn't sound that hard. If you're watching or listening to this, go run a 6-minute mile. Mm-hmm. And then if you really crush it and you do a 6-minute mile, egg on my face. Unless you run consistently, there's no chance you're going to do a 6-minute mile. Kev is also 5'5", maybe 5'6", 5'4", I don't know.
I'll take 5'6".
5'5". Okay, 5'5".
Good.
So here's what we do. I was like, okay, man, you think you can do a 6-minute mile? Let's rock and roll. So we drive over to WPI from the Crunch gym, also near the Muay Thai gym he was talking about. And we tried to run a 6-minute mile. Third lap in, Kevin is on the ground, nearly having an anxiety attack or whatever.
I almost ended up 6 feet under is what almost happened for me.
Yeah, that was, and I ended up with a 6:17, and we were hammering. Now, granted, we were tired. Didn't sleep well the night before. We also did an hour and a half of weight training before that, and it was also super cold that day. That was really cold. And
it was wet.
Honestly pretty reckless.
It was wet.
That was fairly reckless.
I'll be honest though, for me, I could have slept 24 hours the night before. Nothing. There's not a lot was going to help me. That was no.
So can we talk real quick? Why did you think that you could do that? Just low awareness, right?
I think it's a couple things. It's having people run 4-minute miles.
Yeah.
It's like 2 extra minutes. It's plenty of time. I think that's probably the way I was thinking is if the best in the world are running it in 3.5, twice that. I mean, I can hit a baseball 250 feet. The best people in the world hit it 500. I mean, I can hit it further than 250. Why can't I run that? Because low awareness.
A really good baseball player.
Well, you could hit a baseball 250 feet for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, it's not
again, this is just an awareness thing. And I think that, I don't know if this was your intention with this episode, but
who knows?
I realize that arrogance is low awareness plus high confidence. So this is the formula for arrogance is low awareness plus low competence plus high confidence. So picture someone who has very low awareness and very low competence. In other words, they're not very good at the thing, but they are very confident. That is a recipe to get your butt kicked, so to speak, and to eat some massive humble pie. Me, before the marathon, the half marathon was actually way easier than I thought it would be. The full marathon was way harder than I thought it would be, which, by the way, if I was thinking linearly, okay, 13 miles versus 26. If I did 13 miles easily, then I guess 26 shouldn't be that much more difficult. It is exponentially. A marathon, I think, is 50 times harder than a half marathon. The half marathon was genuinely easy. The full marathon was brutal. Like, you want to talk about humble pie? That was the whole last quarter of that marathon. Picture 7 miles. No. So there's 26 miles. So yeah, the last quarter, you're looking at like 7 miles of me like limping, walking in the hot sun, thinking about how wrong I was. That's how humbling that experience was. But when you aim really high, you're going to eat humble pie. And you just need that though. And if you could just realize that that's a good thing. I remember I had an ex-girlfriend who never bodybuilded before, and she thought she knew a lot in the gym. And I remember working out with her was really hard for me because it was like you're coming in like you know what you're talking about because you've watched a couple YouTube channels. This is like what I do for a living. You know, I compete, right? And so very last thing I'll say, $1 in the jar.
Wow.
You remember we had someone on the show early on. What was his name? The one who didn't like books?
That was Josh Bryant.
Josh Bryan.
Josh Bryan.
Okay. He actually commented on one of my things recently.
Hey guys, so I wanted to give a little bit of my experience about group coaching. I'm learning stuff, I'm applying the habits, and I have other people that's doing the same exact thing. One of the biggest things that I think I gained from group coaching is when I went through that month of being so sick, I was so determined that I would just try to do as much as I could. And I just couldn't wait until I felt good enough to get back to doing all of them. I've just seen so much growth in myself, and I'm so appreciative to have the group, to have, that immersive experience. And I really appreciate all that y'all do.
That was a little known fact, excuse me, at that time, that was a dream interview for me because I had followed, there was a couple. It was Corey Hageman and Josh Bryan. Brian, I don't remember. And I followed them on Instagram, and I was like watching their vlogs for show prep. And I remember when we got the chance to interview them, I was like, this is a legitimate dream come true.
Yeah, it's awesome. He said something on that interview that I will never forget because it was so well said. He said, honestly, anything at the professional level is way harder than anyone understands. That is so true. If you are doing anything at the professional level, like, for example, if you're a speaker and you're paid like $10,000 per speech, you are like really, really, really good, or you're just really, really good at marketing. But writing, speaking, podcasting, think about this. I've done 1,147 episodes with Kevin, and I still say and filler words all the time. It is so difficult for me to just not say So difficult. Kevin and I recently were talking behind the scenes. We were like, yeah, we've really regressed in the thing.
Speak for yourself, son.
I have. I definitely have.
How dare
I don't
you.
know if you have or not, honestly. It's not put on my radar.
No, most likely.
But my point is this. Anything at the professional level, I'm talking professional basketball, professional baseball, professional pianist, professional business, you name it, it's way more difficult than anyone can fathom at the beginning. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You just got to aim high and ignite the compound effect and just stay humble along the way. And if you don't have big goals, you most likely have become a big fish in a very small pond, and you really need to go get your butt kicked a little bit. I really do believe that.
And I want to be honest too. I left, and I don't want to make it seem like I took an L and then immediately turned it into a positive. First of all, the gentleman I sparred with, his name was also Kevin. So shout out to Kevin. I don't know if Kevin listens to our podcast, but if he does, what's up? When I left that day, I was literally thinking to myself, I don't know if I want to do that again. I'm not looking forward to doing that again because it sucks. It felt bad. It doesn't
feel good.
It was a paradigm shift of this is the interesting thing. This is really interesting. I did a podcast. I was on a podcast recently. And usually when it comes to podcasting, not necessarily most rooms I'm in, I'm the most in shape. Or like I'm on the upper end of being in shape. I did a podcast with a guy who was carved from granite. Carved from granite. And I literally, the first thing I said to him was, dude, I'm glad we're doing an audio one. Because if we were doing a video one, you would make me look bad. And I was joking, but it was very humbling. That was a very humbling moment for me because I'm used to people saying, oh, wow, you're this, this, this. No. This person could eat me. Professional. Mm-hmm. He's a professional. I'm
That's
not. I like working out. This person's a professional. But that was humbling too. But yeah, so the point, I don't know why I trailed off there. I left the gym that day feeling pretty bad about myself. Honestly, I know I made funnies at the beginning.
How did you climb out? How did you get back in the ring? Because that's the problem. Some people never get back.
I haven't yet. Understand that. I mean, I haven't done that in 2 years. I haven't done that in a long time. Of course, you're not going to be that. I haven't practiced it. Of course, I'm not going to feel comfortable yet.
Exactly.
Of course, I'm not going to feel comfortable yet. Just like anything else, if I picked up a baseball bat and went to the batting cages, I'd probably pick it up quicker because I have more memory, but I wouldn't be able to hit an 85-mile-an-hour fastball right now. No way. Not a chance. Not a chance because I haven't been practicing it. But what I do know is my speaking is better than it's ever been because I've been practicing it. So even going back to
probably
our latest...
better than you think. That's the interesting thing.
Maybe.
Because you're igniting the compound effect every single day and getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Sometimes you don't even know how good you've gotten until you get back in the ring and you're like, oh.
It's true.
Like, so I started a podcast with Emilia. And as far as podcasting and speaking and oratory and communication and effective communication, it's noticeable. Oratory. Kevin is on my level. Emilia is not yet. But it makes sense. Kevin has 1,000, 1,500, at this point, probably 2,000 more than her, right, of podcasts. I mean, how many episodes are they on? I know we produced their show. It's like 300 or something?
No, 100 and something.
100 and something? That's my point. So, of course, I'm going to notice that difference. You know, it's not that Emilia's bad at speaking. That's the other thing. You got to be careful. She's a great orator. She's going to be amazing. But I'm just way ahead in terms of the compound effect. So it's interesting. When you do something every day, you really do underestimate how good you are. I remember when Kev saw me in spreadsheets. I was on the phone with a team member recently, and I share my screen and we do business stuff, metrics. And she was like, "You're like a wizard." I was like, "What are you even talking about? This is like really basic stuff." But who am I comparing to? I don't know. I mean, I've been doing spreadsheets, I guess, my whole adult life. I remember you asked me, like, where'd you learn all this? And I was like, corporate.
I didn't know anything about spreadsheets. I still know nothing compared to you.
It's so weird because I'm not like I don't consider myself good at spreadsheets.
Let's do the spreadsheet Olympics and we'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah, that's the thing. These indirect competitions are dangerous because you don't really know how good you are. At business, that's been alarming for me a little bit. It's like, whoa, like finance and stuff. I never knew how good I was in comparison. And that's another thing for a genius zone. If you're better than you thought always, maybe you're like in your genius zone, you know? So anyway.
And things don't necessarily transfer either. I've noticed vast improvements in my ability to hit the bag, my certain punches, the way my hips are open when I'm throwing kicks. I see a lot of improvements there, but it's almost like that's the pillar of movement. And then after the pillar of movement, there's how aware are you of your surroundings while there's being punches thrown at you and you're moving and trying to stay within a certain distance. There's a lot of, it's almost like that's A, being able to throw a punch, move your body, that's A. It's level D when you get into the ring with somebody and you're moving and trying to hit them in the stomach without getting hit in the face, also by accident, without gassing out, trying to figure out where the punches are going to come from, distant. There's a lot. So yeah, it's interesting. Any chance I get to talk about fighting, I'm always in. That would be, if I'm ever going to have a third podcast, which I don't know, I don't think I am, but it would be either music or combat sports.
We interviewed Julian, who's a professional fighter.
Yeah.
Semi-pro. I don't know if it's pro or semi-pro.
Professional, I believe.
Professional. And we podcasted with him. And at that stage, we were 100 and something in, but it wasn't close. I mean, we were far stronger speakers. It was very obvious. He was very mousy, and he did a great job, all things considered, but he was very, he wasn't an orator. He's not a speaker or a podcaster or an orator, right? He's a fighter. We put on gloves after.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was like, so we're not in our arena anymore. Yeah, and you were in the ring with him.
He held mitts for me. There was no sparring going on.
Would you have been able to hit him at all?
Absolutely not. No, he could have done anything he wanted to me. He could have, somebody like that, he quite literally could have beat me with his hands behind his back because he doesn't need his hands. He's got his feet, and his feet are just as good as his hands, if not better. It's Muay Thai, son. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay, cool.
No.
Humble pie.
You gotta have it. You lose sight of things if you don't, and that's not good for you.
It's almost it's good for you.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't. Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure we didn't get lost in a crosshair. If you want to fight physically, we can. I'm fine.
No, I don't want that humble pie.
It's important because this is what happens. It's almost like when you don't get humble pie, your perspective is off, and it never gets reset. Or you get to the point where it's like, it's not even worth me doing that. I'm so good, I don't have to do that. No, that's not true. Especially, when's the last time you did it?
Yeah, you're without humble pie, you're inaccurate in your thinking. All of us are inaccurate in our thinking without humble pie. And a lot of people who are truly putting in the work are often actually better than they thought. Kevin and I look back to when we were doing fitness shows and we realized, wow, we were actually way better than we thought. And at the time, we didn't really know how good we really were. And now it's interesting perspective. So now we're eating the humble pie of those photos.
It sucks.
And it sucks. It really does. But that also is what makes us better. So eat humble pie. It's good for you.
Next level nation. What do we have here? Oh, yes. Group coaching. Number 9. Number 9 starts January 3rd. I had a call before this with a client, and this person literally said this to me. She said, I had no idea how challenging it would be to fill group coaching, because she's running group coachings too. And I said, it's a challenge. It's hard. They're
doing group coaching.
Yeah, you're putting 10 people instead of one. It's a challenge.
Yeah,
and I said the other thing too is there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. You know, are you communicating daily, or what are you doing? It depends. There's a lot. So if you want to see what it's like to be on the receiving end of group coaching, we are opening our 9th round, January 3rd. A lot of us set New Year's resolutions. Alan and I used to do episodes every year on New Year's to talk about why people don't keep up, or they don't accomplish their goals, or they last 30 days and it goes away. Make it a resolution to get better. Join group coaching, and I guarantee over those 3 months you will get better than you would if you didn't join. Accountability's there. There's necessity. Alan and I are there. Behind the scenes, you'll have people who are growing at a similar rate. It's world-class, really. It's really, really valuable, and I believe in it very much.
And if you want to prove humility, it's always actions. And there will be humble pie in group coaching.
Oh, yeah.
There are people, it's people of all different walks of life, and you'll see, Kevin started out tracking 5 habits, 5 years ago, and now he's doing 25 plus a day. It's very humbling. It's very, very humbling to get into a room with people that are playing at this level, but it's good for you. So group coaching, group 9, reach out as soon as possible. Also, we're reading a book called Switch in Book Club, and every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you want to prove your humility as well, people that are humble read books. The reason why is because they know they don't know everything. So yes, I know Kevin and I are very confident on this podcast, and we're teaching a lot of these principles that we're also practicing, but we're doing the learning behind the scenes too. I know he's doing a half hour a day. I'm reading this book every single week. We do a chapter a week, and I take notes. It's actually really, really valuable. Brandon, the director of book club, says it's like free coaching. I don't know why more people don't do it. We do have like 12 plus every single week, but we want to bump those numbers up. We want a bigger community. Join book club. The registration link will be in the show notes. Show your humility by reading awesome books. I want to have a huge Beauty and the Beast library one day. Just saying.
I love it. Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1148. I am very excited to do this episode, although I am a little bit nervous, to be honest. What kind of friend do you want to be? I saw a post recently from somebody that made me think, you know what? I think it's time that we do this episode, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what being a good friend is, and we're going to dive deep. So, as always, we love you, appreciate you, grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.